They called him Gino the Pious, a devout Catholic cycling hero from a different generation. A beloved champion whose list of achievements puts him among the legends of his sport, but one whose greatest honor was saving hundreds of Jewish people from Nazi death camps.
Non guardo mai quelli che stanno meglio di me, perché a me quelli ci ha già pensato di farli sta bene. Io guardo quelli che stanno male. Se no avevo tanti di quei soldi, io avevo dei momenti di guadagnare quanto volevo.
I know what it's like to be stepped on.
This is who I am.
I'm an Aborigine and I'm proud of it.
Stereotypes are meant to be broken, so let's break them all down.
Trailblazers.
Road cycling is one of the toughest, most dramatic and most exciting sports around, with massive commercial deals and media coverage to go along with it. Back in the day, things were different.
Allora era una tristezza correre, guarda. Ci voleva solo del gran coraggio, della grande passione e lavoro a questo sport povero, che oggi anche se è diventato signore però è sempre un bel sport, indipendente, pieno di pericoli.
Gino Bartali was born into a working-class family in Florence, in Italy, in 1914. He began working in a bicycle shop in his teens to help make ends meet, and it's here that he discovered his love for cycling, winning his first competitive race at just 17. By his early 20s, Bartali had turned his hobby into a career, claiming the first of 3 Giro D'Italia titles in 1936. But as his fame rose, Gino had to deal with the trauma of his younger brother Giulio's death, who was killed after being hit by a car in an amateur cycling race.
Se tu vedi poi mio fratello, ti farò vedere come era mio fratello. Quello sì che aveva un fisico da atleta. Io mi vergognavo a mettere i pantaloncini, mi sembrava essere fatto male. Ecco, io ho detto sempre, io non ho mai pregato né di vincere né nulla, io ho sempre pregato di non cadere, perché mi era morto mio fratello e i miei genitori avevano sopportato il mio rientro alle corse.
Profoundly impacted, but determined to ride in his brother's honour, Bartali returned to claim a second Giro in 1937, and he won the Tour de France a year later. Gino was known for his powerful, muscular build, but despite this, he was an expert mountain climber, honing his talents around the steep hills of his native Tuscany. Bartali became a hero in Italy, loved both for bringing international sporting success to his nation, but also for his humble, God-fearing personality. But then, seemingly at his peak, World War II broke out, and Gino found ways to use his talents for a much greater purpose. Bartali had already defied convention by not dedicating his 1938 Tour de France victory in honour of his country's fascist dictator Benito Mussolini. As war gripped Europe, Italy's Jewish community faced more and more discrimination, and this became critical after Mussolini's regime was overthrown in 1943 and German troops invaded northern Italy to shore up support there. As a famous sports star, Gino had the freedom to continue his training, and it's here that he made the most important and bravest rides of his life. Unbeknownst to his family and friends, Bartali joins the underground Assisi network and used the cover of his long training routes to smuggle false identification documents to Jewish people to help them escape being sent to Nazi gas chambers. The papers would be hidden in the frame of his bike, which Gino would plead couldn't be tampered with when he was stopped and searched by armed German patrols. He also hid a Jewish family in his own apartment in Florence. Bartali's courage cannot be overstated, as those aiding people trying to escape could be sent to the death camps and executed themselves. The true story only came out years after Gino's death from a heart attack in 2000. It's believed his clandestine mission saved hundreds of lives. He told his son Andrea, but swore him to secrecy, believing that he didn't deserve praise for doing the right thing. Bartali's selfless attitude can be summed up when he said later in life, "Real heroes are others, those who have suffered in their soul, in their heart, in their spirits, in their mind for their loved ones. Those are the real heroes. I'm just a cyclist." As a result of his heroism, Gino was honored by the Yad Vashem Holocaust Remembrance Center in Israel in a ceremony attended by his son in 2013. With his wartime courageousness unknown, Bartali returned to racing in peacetime. while now very much a veteran, he won a third Giro d'Italia in 1946.
Mi chiamano prima l'uomo di ferro.
L'uomo di ferro.
Perché andavo in tutti i posti, quando pioveva andavo bene lo stesso, il calore andavo bene lo stesso, qualunque cosa io poi crisi non ne prendevo mai. Era il rullo compressore mi chiamavano. Poi mi chiamavano il vecchio perché correvo con questi giovani qua e
poi
la faceva ancora in barba.
C'era un soprannome.
Bartali then stunned cycling by claiming another yellow jersey at the Tour de France in 1948. He finished 26 minutes ahead of his nearest rival in an extraordinary win and lived up to his status as the giant of the mountains by winning 3 consecutive alpine stages, a feat that's never been matched since. Gino remains the only person to win 2 tours 10 years apart, and it's even claimed that his victory helped calm a potential civil war in Italy as deadly political rivals in his homeland came together to celebrate his momentous win. It's around this time that his rivalry with countryman Fausto Coppi reached its peak. 7-time Grand Tour champion Coppi and Bartali were both beloved in their homeland, but they were very different. The broken-nosed Bartali was a muscular, religious and traditional man from the rural south, while the photogenic Coppi was more of the modern age, a wiry atheist from the industrial north of the country. Though teammates for many years, it's said that they raced not to win, but to beat each other. Their battles split Italy down the middle, though Gino insists a famous moment when the two shared a bottle of water whilst racing proved their respect as an example to the world.
Si vedeva anche quando io do la bottiglia a Fausto, ora si vede solo se do la bottiglia, la beve, la porta sulla testa e non si vede che la butta via. Prima si vedeva anche che la buttava via a sinistra e non si ruppe la bottiglia a buttarla via. Quello non è un fotomontaggio, si vede, e questo sono tanti anni che io me ne chiedono i coppiani e i bartaliani, perché è un segno di amicizia fra 2 rivali che se ci fossero adesso in politica il mondo non succederebbe mai nulla.
When Bartali died at the turn of the millennium, Italy stopped to mark a sporting icon. It was only later that the world learned what a true hero this trailblazer was, as he powered along wartime Italy's roads and mountains with a much greater goal than personal glory.
Tanto la vita all'ultimo giorno è uguale per tutti. E dico sempre, ridano tutti a mio Dio, ricordatevi che l'ultimo giorno non c'è bisogno di fare un vestito con le tasche.
Gino Bartali was a brilliant and legendary cycling champion. More importantly, he was a man who did the right thing and used his talents to help others.